They aren't stars at all. These bright points of light are part of an ever-expanding network of satellites, silently weaving their way across the heavens in perfectly synchronized orbits. This isn't just a marvel of modern technology, it's Starlink, an ambitious venture by SpaceX and its enigmatic founder, Elon Musk. But beneath the glossy facade of progress and innovation lurks a darker, more complex narrative. A story of power, control, and global dominance that has ignited a sense of unease and speculation across the globe. Starlink is heralded as a groundbreaking initiative, promising to deliver high-speed internet to even the most isolated reaches of the planet. Yet, as the number of satellites in orbit swells, so do the unsettling questions about the true intentions behind this vast network. What is Starlink really orchestrating from above? And how much unseen power does this constellation of satellites truly wield? To uncover the answers, we must explore the origins of Starlink, delve into the mind of the man behind the mission, and confront the disquieting truths that have surfaced as this orbital web continues to tighten around our world. Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX, is no stranger to ambitious projects that push the boundaries of what's possible. Born in South Africa in 1971, Musk displayed a precocious talent for technology and entrepreneurship from a young age. After moving to the United States, Musk founded several successful companies, including Zip2, XCOM, which later became PayPal, and Tesla Motors. But it was SpaceX, founded in 2002, that would become his most audacious venture. SpaceX was created with the goal of reducing the cost of space travel and making it possible for humans to live on other planets. Under Musk's leadership, the company achieved numerous milestones, including the first privately funded spacecraft to reach orbit and the development of the reusable Falcon 9 rocket. But while these achievements garnered widespread acclaim, it was the Starlink project that would truly set SpaceX apart as a force to be reckoned with. The Starlink project was officially announced in 2015 with the goal of creating a global network of low Earth orbit (LEO) satellites capable of providing high-speed internet access to every corner of the globe. The vision was bold: to bridge the digital divide by offering reliable internet service to remote and underserved areas, while also competing with traditional broadband providers in urban markets. The first batch of 60 Starlink satellites was launched in May 2019, and since then, SpaceX has been steadily increasing the size of the constellation. As of 2024, there are over 4,000 Starlink satellites in orbit, with plans to eventually deploy as many as 42,000. This would make Starlink the largest satellite constellation in history, dwarfing all other satellite networks combined. But as the Starlink network has grown, so too have concerns about its potential impact. On the surface, the project appears to be a benevolent effort to improve global connectivity. One of the most immediate concerns surrounding Starlink is the sheer number of satellites being deployed. With tens of thousands of satellites planned, astronomers have raised alarms about the impact on the night sky. The bright reflections of Starlink satellites have already disrupted astronomical observations, leading to fears that the network could significantly hinder scientific research. SpaceX has responded by experimenting with dark coatings and sunshades to reduce the satellite's brightness, but the problem persists. Beyond the aesthetic and scientific concerns, there are deeper issues at play. The rapid deployment of Starlink satellites has raised questions about the regulatory process, or lack thereof, governing their launch. While SpaceX has received approval from the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, for its Starlink deployments, the international regulatory framework for satellite constellations remains murky. Critics argue that SpaceX is essentially writing the rules as it goes, setting a dangerous precedent for future space ventures. Moreover, the potential for Starlink to be used as a tool for global surveillance and data collection has not gone unnoticed. With the ability to provide internet access to even the most remote regions, Starlink could also serve as a platform for monitoring and tracking users' online activities on an unprecedented scale. The fact that the network is controlled by a private company with close ties to the US government has only fueled these concerns. Is Starlink simply a means of providing internet access, or is it part of a broader strategy to extend control over global communications? While Starlink is primarily marketed as a civilian internet service, its potential military applications cannot be ignored. The US military has already expressed interest in using Starlink for a variety of purposes, including communications, reconnaissance, and missile tracking. In 2020, SpaceX was awarded a contract by the US Air Force to test the use of Starlink satellites for encrypted military communications. This dual-use nature of the technology has led to speculation that Starlink could become a key component of the Pentagon's future strategic operations. The possibility of Starlink being weaponized or used for surveillance on a global scale is a troubling prospect. If Starlink satellites were equipped with advanced sensors or other military hardware, they could be used to gather intelligence, monitor foreign governments, or even target specific individuals. The fact that the network is owned and operated by a private company only adds to the uncertainty. How much control does SpaceX have over the data transmitted through Starlink? And what agreements might exist between SpaceX and government agencies? Another significant concern related to Starlink is the environmental impact of deploying such a large number of satellites. The risk of collisions in space, also known as space debris or space junk, is already a pressing issue. With thousands of new satellites being added to low Earth orbit, the chances of collisions increase exponentially. Even a small collision could create a cloud of debris that endangers other satellites, spacecraft, and astronauts. SpaceX has stated that it is taking steps to mitigate the risk of collisions, including equipping Starlink satellites with autonomous collision avoidance systems. However, the sheer scale of the Starlink network means that even a small percentage of failures could have catastrophic consequences. The question remains, is the potential benefit of global internet access worth the risk of turning low Earth orbit into a debris-filled hazard zone? As Starlink continues to grow, concerns about its potential to monopolize the satellite internet market have also come to the fore. By deploying such a vast network of satellites, SpaceX is positioning itself as the dominant player in global internet provision, potentially squeezing out competitors and gaining unprecedented control over a critical infrastructure. This concentration of power in the hands of a single company raises several troubling questions. What happens if Starlink becomes the primary means of accessing the internet in many parts of the world? How might this affect freedom of speech, access to information, and digital rights? The prospect of a private corporation holding such influence over global communications is alarming, particularly when that corporation is led by a figure as ambitious and unorthodox as Elon Musk. Despite these concerns, it's important to acknowledge the significant successes and innovations that Starlink has achieved. The project has already brought internet access to remote areas that were previously underserved or completely unconnected. However, these successes come with a double-edged sword. The very capabilities that make Starlink a technological marvel also give it the potential to be used in ways that could harm society. The concentration of power, the potential for surveillance, the environmental risks, and the monopolistic tendencies all point to a future where the impact of Starlink may not be entirely positive. As Starlink continues to expand, the unanswered questions surrounding the project become increasingly urgent. What are the long-term implications of a satellite network of this scale? How will Starlink's presence affect global communications, privacy, and security? And perhaps most importantly, who ultimately controls the data and the power that Starlink represents? While Elon Musk has positioned Starlink as a force for good, bringing internet access to the world's most remote and underserved communities, the reality is far more complex. The project's potential for dual use, its environmental risks, and its implications for global power dynamics suggest that Starlink is more than just a simple internet service. It is a powerful tool, one that could reshape the world in ways we are only beginning to understand. As we look to the future, it's clear that the story of Starlink is far from over. the network's continued expansion will undoubtedly bring new challenges, new controversies, and new revelations. For now, we can only watch as this constellation of satellites continues to grow, wondering what the night sky and the world beneath it will look like when Starlink's true power is finally unveiled. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to be notified of more stories revealing the truth behind big businesses. Leave a comment if there is a business you'd like us to investigate next.